All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming out to learn about Ultra courses. In just a moment, that's going to kick off with the agenda, but again, thanks for coming out. We're talking about kind of the future of Blackboard. This is the future direction within the company and really the future direction here as well. It's all about trying to make it better for the students at the end of the day, right? Make it easier for them to actually be able to learn and interact with the content. Now, for those of you that are viewing from home or if you're viewing from the remote location, we have our like telephone workers, it kind of feels like right here, right? They are looking at the chat. So you can chat your questions in and then they'll either try to answer those through chat or we'll kick them to Beth or to Krista from Blackboard here, maybe even myself to give an incorrect answer. Also, if you want to actually ask your questions, so say you're at the Cumberland location, you can raise your virtual hand so that Judy or Mike, right? We can make sure we can bring that in. And again, Judy and Mike are running the location at Cumberland. And if you're at home viewing, or say you're in your office viewing, same thing, you can raise your virtual hand and we'd love to bring you in to be able to ask that question. We want to make this interactive, so we don't necessarily have to hold the questions till the end. So please feel free to raise your hand inside of the room as well. Ask that question. If we're going to be covering that later in the presentation, Beth will let you know. And otherwise, again, thank you for coming out. It's my pleasure to introduce Beth Beecroft.
Hi, everybody. So again, thank you for coming. It's always nice to know that people want the information that we have and we don't just have to rely on telling people through email. Of course.
I'm walking this way, so the camera will go to Beth.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
One question came up. Is this being recorded? The answer is yes. And we'll make the recording available after this presentation. We'll probably put it on the town hall website, which is where we tend to put all these types of college-wide recordings. And when they're available, we'll make sure we send out an email about it. Go ahead, Beth, sorry.
That's okay. So on the screen now is just a quick overview of what we'll be talking about. So we're going to give a brief overview of the situation now at both campuses. I know it can get confusing between having multiple campuses. We're going to talk about what Ultra courses are, like why we're moving to Ultra courses. We'll showcase some of the new features of Ultra courses. We'll do a course demo where I'll show you both from the instructor point of view and from the student point of view. Oh, it'll find me eventually. We'll do a timeline of Ultra courses, so you'll get an idea of kind of what we're looking forward towards. And then Krista Levecki from Blackboard Anthology is here. She's going to talk briefly about the idea exchange, which is something that you guys can all participate in. And then we will introduce the early adopters cohort. So that will be explained in detail, but essentially if you're excited by what you see today and you want to get started, that is the slide that you should be looking for. And then Josh is going to talk a little bit about kind of a brilliant turn of events for us.
Where should I stand? Where Beth was? Or... It's like a comedy of errors.
I think if you go in front.
All right, sure. So I had this strange track record, right, of selecting companies that wind up merging, like in terms of like products. It's kind of ironic. But so, yeah, so as you all know, we're implementing this small ERP right now as part of our merger, right, between the Cumberland and the Gloucester campus. That company was originally Campus Management. And then I won't get into all the particulars, but private equity loves to merge together. And so you wind up having this new company called Anthology that came together. And as part of that, Blackboard came into it as well. So we've used Blackboard forever, basically, right? Prior to Blackboard, we were WebCT. The company WebCT got purchased by Blackboard, so we became Blackboard users. And then Blackboard got purchased by this kind of conglomerate now called Anthology. And it's been really good for us, right? Some of the things that happen as a result of that is there's a guarantee that our ERP that we're implementing, which will go live in March of 2025, it will go live in March of 2025. Yeah. It's going to work even better with Blackboard to be able to automate processes and things like that. And that's important, right? Because the pandemic taught us quite a few different lessons, one of which is we need to have a digital presence in every course. Even if it's just used for a syllabus and maybe occasional discussion boards, it really is important that every course that we offer has some sort of a digital presence, and that's through Blackboard. We also have CTE, right? Our CTE division, which, as you know, President Keating really wants to kind of embolden and add more to. That is also using Blackboard now. So we're going to be in this world where the Cumberland campus, the Gloucester campus, and our CTE division, spread across both campuses, will all be using Blackboard. And they'll ultimately be using the same instance of Blackboard. And that's important because when we are merged into a single ERP, students will be able to go take classes at Cumberland and Gloucester at the same time. Something you really can't do today because we have different systems, right? It's just about impossible. And I think that's going to happen. I really do. There'll be cases where a student wants to take a physical class at Gloucester because the timing of that class is more convenient because maybe they live in Cumberland County, but they work in Gloucester County, right? You're going to have things like that. So it's important that we have the single instance. And Beth will get into the details, but part of that single instance as well is what's going to let us go to Blackboard Ultra so that we have this ability to have the most modern interface for the students to use. And I'll chime in during the presentation some. So yeah, it's lucky for us. I think it's also actually really good for anthology ultimately as well. It's all going to be running in the new single ERP. And then, the benefits, like Beth said, they're cleaner integrations. The pieces should just work better. The other piece is both the Gloucester and the Cumberland campus rely on a lot of Microsoft technologies today. So like Microsoft Office 365, email. Anthology's main platform is Microsoft. So that's also going to help with integration. What does integration mean at the end of the day? It means less friction. And less friction means it's easier for a student to get in and do what they need to do. It's easier for instructors to get in to do what you all need to do. It's easier for administrators and staff to be able to, work in the system. So I'm all about reducing as much friction as is possible. Now, it takes some work to get there, as we're doing with the ERP right now. We have folks right now that are literally in a room looking through case studies for our ERP implementation to make sure that students are flowing in correctly, et cetera. It's really complex. But so it's been great. The other part of this is, I'm not going to lie, the development within Blackboard kind of got a little stagnant there for a while. Since they've been purchased by Anthology or merged into Anthology, there's been a lot of money that's been put into Blackboard. Now, we'll talk about Blackboard Ultra in a lot of detail in a second, but I'm old enough and have been doing this long enough to say that this would be the third, maybe fourth attempt at Blackboard Ultra for the company Blackboard, right? And every time it got pitched to us, Beth and I would sit there and say, no. There was one pitch where, we have students with different types of needs within courses. They have IEPs, things like that. And so they need extra time in a test. You couldn't do that with one of the versions of Blackboard Ultra, right? And Beth and I literally looked at each other and said, how can you sell this to anybody if you can't do that, right? But we're at a point now with the adoption of Anthology kind of taking on Blackboard. They've put in a ton of resources. And I would argue that the Blackboard Ultra interface is much better than what we use today, the original or the classic interface. It's more simplistic, and that's important because it means it's easier for a student to get in there and use that interface, right? I always talk about it like, imagine if you had classrooms on the campus and you go into one classroom and it's kind of set up like a normal classroom, kind of like this. You walk into another classroom and the whiteboards are on the ceiling, the projector's on the ceiling. That's disorienting, right? A student has to go in there, and before they can even start to learn, they have to figure out how they're gonna work in the class, where they're gonna find the information that they need. That is sometimes the case for a student today because people customize their courses. And while it makes a lot of sense to us as the instructors, it doesn't necessarily always make sense to the student. And they have to, if the student's taking 4 online courses today, there's a good possibility that that interface is 4 different ways. It's 4 different rooms that are set up differently. And so it can be hard for the student to figure that out. And so part of this is that it kind of cleans that up, sets it up so the interface is more structured so a student can be in 4 different online courses. And instead of maybe taking a week to learn how to use the course, they can just get in there and start learning within the course. They don't have to understand where the content is and figure that out. And then there's other pieces that come with this commitment that, you know, we won't talk about really today, but I'll talk about it briefly. You know, Blackboard is working with Microsoft with this, and you've all heard of ChatGPT by OpenAI, right? Microsoft owns 49% of ChatGPT or OpenAI. They literally own 49%. As a result of that, it enables Anthology to be able to use a lot of those AI pieces, and that's what they call a trusted AI framework within Microsoft. So once we're on Blackboard Ultra, you as the instructor will be able to actually enable AI features as well, right? That'll be up to you as the instructor if you want to do that. It'll be part of the trusted AI framework. So that's just kind of like that kind of icing on the top of all of it at the end of the day. With that, I've probably blown up Beth's presentation, so I'll hand it back to you, Beth.
All right. So today at both campuses, the systems look slightly different because we use a different banner and we use kind of different naming conventions for courses and stuff, but we are on the same version of Blackboard at both campuses. We are on Blackboard Learn, Original, Courses, and then we are on Ultra-based navigation, which we moved to in summer, I believe that's correct, summer of 2023. And one of the sticking points with Original Courses is we have like that mobile devices statement, which is don't use them. Don't submit content with them. If you want to use your phone to read some stuff, that's fine. Never submit content, right? And it's hard to tell students that. Students spend $1,000 on a phone, and then we tell them they have to go buy a laptop, right? That doesn't feel good for us. So that's kind of the state of things today. With Ultra Courses, on the other hand, you know, the modern interface is built with mobile first thinking, right? Everything about Ultra and everything that goes into Ultra is first designed so that it will make sense for a mobile user. I have to say that with my team at both campuses, as we worked in Ultra, every now and then we go, why won't it let me do this thing? Like add this huge image that goes from side to side, right? And then we go, oh, it's mobile users. That doesn't make sense for them. We don't need something that's so gigantic, right? You know, you can still put the image in. It'll just be smaller when a student who's on a full-size computer clicks on it, it gets big for them, right? So those are the kind of thoughts that go into building for mobile first. And as Josh mentioned, it's student-focused. I think it's also instructor-focused, honestly. If you've worked in Original, you know if you want to make something available, you have to like click edit, go to a separate page, and then make the change there, and then hit save, and then you go back, and then you have to look at it and decide if that's what you wanted. It works so much better in Ultra for both the student and for the instructor. So this slide here, I was able to attend Anthology Together conference for the last 2 years, but this past summer I went with the intention of really deciding, are we going to Ultra? Is Ultra the thing? When? If it is the thing, when? I sat in a session, it was kind of a co-led session. Greenville Technical College in South Carolina was there with another school, and they were talking about their transition. And the thing that stood out to me in that session is Greenville Technical College is reporting a 33.7% increase in English 102 student success and a 22.2% increase in Math 110 for student success after moving to Ultra. And I put my hand up and I asked them, like, what did you do with Ultra that made that happen? Like, those numbers to me sounded crazy, and also sounded like if those are real, we need to go quick. Like, if that's the level of success, it increases by that much, we need to go soon, right? We don't want to wait. These are the two things that Greenville said. They said, there's no left menu anymore, so people can't, you know, kind of go off the rails and make that left menu confusing for students. So that's the number one thing that they said. For students, when they land in the course, and you'll get to see it, you'll get to see what I mean. When they land in the course, they just know what to do. And then the other thing is that learning modules in Ultra are fantastic. They take all of the content and they make it sequential for students. We have learning modules in Original. We stopped using them because the interface was so confusing. and clunky, I guess is maybe the best word for it. So we steered everybody towards using content folders in original. We're gonna go back to learning modules with Ultra. You'll see, actually on this next slide, you'll see this is a preview of what a learning module looks like. It tells a student how much they've done in that module. Like that alone is powerful. The student goes into a course, they do some work, they go out, maybe they have to go to work. They come back later and they know exactly where they left off. Okay, so I'll demonstrate what this looks like from the instructor side and the student side, but that's just all by itself a huge deal.
Yeah, and just to chime in on some of that too, one of the things that was really interesting about the anthology conference, like Beth said, she went 2 years in a row, I did as well. The first year, people were a little tentative about Anthology's purchase of Blackboard and what's that really gonna mean? And Blackboard Anthology made a lot of promises at that conference. Now, I'm used to going to conferences and hearing promises, and then I go to the conference the next year, and it's like, we never made those promises. What are you talking about? No, that wasn't us. What was really kind of amazing, and I mean truly amazing, was almost every promise that they made had come to fruition at that next conference. And generally speaking, everyone that had moved to Ultra had nothing but positive things to say about it. That's huge. It really is huge. And I know a lot of these people. I've been doing distance ed for almost 20 years now. They're not shy people. They're not happy about something. They let the company know.
Yeah.
And they were happy because they were getting results like Beth was talking about.
Yeah, and I sat in sessions where they talked about all the good things, and they mentioned a couple quirks and had warnings for people, just of things to look out for. So it wasn't all 100% praise, but overall, everybody's been very happy. So again, emphasizing mobile first. I'm going to repeat this to people as we move to Ultra in the future. And people maybe get a little bit frustrated with certain aspects because we're so used to doing it the old way. It does take some time. Remind yourself it's mobile first, right? One cool thing that you'll notice right away with Ultra is you can put content where you want it instead of at the very bottom of your long list of items where you have to go down to the bottom and grab it and drag it all the way back up again. It's super easy to add images. There's a connection with Unsplash, which has openly licensed images that you can just search for a keyword, grab the image and stick it in. And then batch edit of content items. So if you needed to change the dates on a bunch of learning modules, you could just go to the batch edit tool and change them all in one place. Communication. The announcements now, when you go into an Ultra course, will pop up for the student, and the student and the instructor could mark them as red if they don't want them to pop up anymore. But now at Gloucester campus, we've always encouraged faculty to make the announcements page their landing page so that any important information would be right there. We don't have to do that anymore. We can just let students go to the content of the course. And then there's a feature called class conversations, where on various items that you put into your course, you can enable or disable it. And it gives students a place where they can ask a question about that specific item, rather than going out to a course tool or to an email to send an email and explain what they're even talking about. And finally, like I said, mobile first, the Blackboard app will now match what you see on a computer. Right now, if you're using the Blackboard app, it looks the same until you get into a course, and then it's so different between the two things. And then with the app, you can also set up, if you choose to get push notifications for various things. Tool, Safe Assign. You can now use it on tests and for essay questions. I have a feeling we will get a question about whether you can use it on discussion boards, and you can't yet. But when Krista talks about the idea exchange, you'll see how you can get involved with that. Josh mentioned accommodations. This can be life-changing. Instead of setting up extra time for a student on every single item in your course, as an instructor, you go to the student inside your course, you set up that accommodation on the student, and it just applies to all of the assignments across the course. Test submission receipts. So students, when they submit assignments today in Original, get an email of confirmation that they submitted something. I'm not saying they submitted the right file, but they do get confirmation that they submitted something. Same happens in Ultra with tests. And then the other cool thing is when you move around in Ultra, you're going to start seeing data surface to you. you're not going to have to go run a report to get information. You're going to see a lot of that get surfaced to you in different areas.
May I interrupt
Mhm.
before I lose these three questions?
Yeah.
Announcements, you said there's an ability to mark as read. Is
Yes.
there an ability, in this new Ultra 2, like if you rolled, or am I allowed to ask a question?
Yes.
If you rolled announcements from one semester to the next, and then I just hide them based on their date of when they're going to apply, and then their new due dates, whatever, it's like all the information about chapter 4 will now appear in March, whatever.
Yeah.
Is there a way in Ultra to hide the announcement once it's no longer applicable, but keep it overall as an announcement that you want the announcement to still exist so that when you roll the course.
Right, you can refer to it in the
course
future.
copy, you have all of the information. That is question one.
Mhm.
Should I do all three questions?
Well, let me,
So I would take each one.
yeah, for announcements. Yeah, it works the same way. You can control it with dates, which is what you can do on original right now too, right? You can post an announcement and set dates to it. And then once the date has passed at the end, it'll be unavailable, but it'll still be there. So it's the same.
No, they just stay.
Yeah, they stay, but they're no longer visible to students if you set the availability dates on
Okay. Accommodations was my next question. What if the accommodation only applies to quizzes and tests and doesn't apply to homework assignments? Like,
well, it depends on how you set the items up. So,
like if they're organized by assignment or quiz.
Right,
or
so-
test or survey or.
Yeah.
Okay.
and only certain items have time limits. So only tests have time limits. So, if you're giving an extra time accommodation, it would apply only on the tests.
And then my final question was test submission receipts. Do those come to like the instructor? You'll get like 30.
No, they go to the student.
Is it coming to emails now? Of like,
The student gets a pop-up and they can download it, and it also goes to the student's email address.
okay, so we're not getting like
No.
30 notifications of every single student has submitted
No.
their, okay.
There are lots of notifications in Ultra, and you've seen some of them even now in original with Ultra Base Navigation, and you
Yeah.
can modify all of those to
Okay.
what you want them to be.
Okay.
Go ahead, Howard.
The test submission receipts. When I want to check when the student really started and when the student ended.
All that's
I have
there.
access
Yes.
to the information.
Yes.
And when you say receipt, means on the top of that, am I going to get a receipt? Or
No.
the student gets a receipt?
The student gets the receipt.
Okay.
Yep. Any questions at Cumberland, or let me, go ahead.
So when the student gets their message and it's marked as read, can we see that they read it?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Like a course message, you mean? It's the same tool we have now in Ultra Base Navigation. You know how the tool looks a little different on the main Ultra Base Navigation page? But Erica just took a note. We'll get back to you. I'm not sure.
That's within the messages menu, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, within course messages.
Oh, okay.
So, just pardon me if you're
Yeah.
already, if you're gonna get there in a later slide, I apologize if I'm jumping the gun. But when you showed that thing about the progress,
Mhm.
obviously my curiosity is how that integrates, if at all, with, when we have, McGraw-Hill Connect,
Yep.
Cengage, does that integrate?
Yeah, good question. So yes, it integrates. You can have publisher content in your Ultra courses. It marks it a little bit different. So
Yeah.
depending on the type of item it is, if they click on it, it marks it as complete.
Okay,
Maybe in the future with the LTI connections, there would be more of a deeper integration, but currently you can put publisher integrations in. Once a student clicks on it, it'll mark it as.
It also is gonna depend on the publisher, right? What they wanna share back,
Mhm.
right? Keep in mind, when you're using publisher integrations, they kind of own that data, so it's up to them on how much they wanna round trip back into our version of Blackboard.
yeah, thank you.
We have a question from Irene Scott.
Okay, Arena.
Irina, we're bringing you in.
I think you're good, Arena. Go ahead.
Right, sorry, I muted myself, and I was talking to myself a lot. So the new Ultra will be, kickoff will be when? Fall, 2024?
I'll get to that at the end, so hang on.
Okay, so, all right, so,
Everyone has to stay.
okay, so after it is active, what happens with our courses? Will we be required to use the modules, or can we select not to if we do that? And can we roll over our courses like as we do it now?
Okay. Yeah, so, yeah, like, I wanna address kind of all of that, I guess, probably at the end, Arena. Yes, content can be moved from an original course into an ultra course, okay? Yes, you can not use learning modules and choose that folders will work better. So yes and yes is the answer, but there's more detail for you at the end, Arena, if you hang on.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, are we caught up on questions?
Any more chat or anything? We got one question in chat.
Anything in chat to talk about here, or do you want to address it?
Iris has there we go. Iris has a question. Will faculty still be able to track student usage last time they logged in or durations time spent on course?
Yes.
They don't have a last access in the grade center
Right.
as we have it now, but there are other places to track user activity.
Exactly. So pretty much everything you do in original, I can't say everything because for instance, wikis don't exist in Ultra and there's no intention of making them exist in Ultra. There's better ways to do things, right? So not every single tiny feature from original will come into Ultra, but pretty much everything that's in original you can do in Ultra, you just have to learn the different way to get to that content. Yeah, go ahead.
Will our Blackboard look the same for the students?
Yeah.
How it's look like?
Yeah, so there's a student view in Ultra, just like there is now, in case you want to pop over to see. But I believe, like from where I'm sitting, that it does look more unified, right? Currently, if you're an instructor in Blackboard, all the way down the left-hand side, there's that control panel area. People get confused about whether students can see that or not. Generally speaking, though, what you're seeing as an instructor is what a student would see. You can make things visible or not visible to students, though. Okay? All right. So now I'm gonna show you a lot of this stuff. So give me just 1 second. So first from the student point of view. All right, my screen is still sharing, right? Yep. Okay. So this little demo course here just has kind of 3 modules that I built out. And I'm trying to accomplish many things. So for instance, you'll see the first link in the course is a Zoom link. That would be a live online course, right? You don't necessarily need the first thing in your course to be a Zoom link if you're a fully online course or some other format, but that's just a demonstration. A student could click here and it would take them to Zoom and it would look kind of the way it does now where it has the list of meetings and you click and join the meeting. Next, I have a folder, and this is just a folder. This is just a content folder, not a learning module. And in here, I have things that I kind of want students to have access to throughout the semester, right? Right at the top of the course, syllabus, grading rubrics, due dates, instructor information, and then a folder that has some writing resources for my students in my writing class, okay? And I'm gonna click through and show you what this looks like. Course syllabus. See how it's not filling the screen from left to right? That's mobile first, right? It's kind of right down the middle. It does resize, the bigger your screen, the wider that gets, but it's not gonna kind of fill that whole space. So I copied and pasted my syllabus from Word. I did have to tweak it a tiny bit, but I will say that table came over perfectly. I didn't have to futz around with the table. And then the other thing I did was students may want to print this, right? So they could print just the screen, that would work. But I also added an attachment here of my actual document for them to download. And they can just click here, download it, and they can print that. Next I have my grading rubric. So in English 101, the grading rubric is intense. It is 10 items long down the left-hand side. And it is 3 things across, but I did want it here for the students to see here, but then again, you could attach that file here for them to download if they wanted that separately. Question, go ahead.
That syllabus you uploaded,
Yes,
that's in the PDF.
yeah, that one is a Word doc, but yes, you can upload it as a PDF. Next, I have my course due dates, everything just easily accessible for students to see. Again, they can click to download this. My instructor information, I wanted to get a little fancy. I wrote some HTML code, stuck it in, gave me this. You can use HTML code very easily in Blackboard Ultra. It's a little nitpicky in original. You can still do it, but you'll have more fun doing it now, especially if you use ChatGPT to write it for you. And so you can get fancy and add your own little details and stuff, and instructional designers would be able to help with that kind of thing. Go ahead.
My question is, are we moving away from every storing things in Blackboard, or just like most of my stored elsewhere?
Yeah, so we would still encourage folks to put large files on OneDrive, and I'll show you kind of what that OneDrive thing can look like. It's not all just a link out. You can also see stuff inside the course. Yeah. And then my writing resources, nothing fancy, just letting you know that instead of creating like we do in original where each kind of item is its own link out, you can create a document and stick a list of links in the document instead. And just visually and organization-wise, it kind of works a little better. Next is a module. So I decided in this course I was going to do a module 0 for orientation content, right? Stuff that they might want to hop through pretty quick if they've taken Blackboard Ultra courses. But I did want them to have a welcome from me. And then when you're in a module, you'll notice at the top right corner, you can just click next to go to the next item. The next item in this is a course tour video that has questions that I want the students to answer. So here they're going to click start. I tell them at the top, this is a self-check. I want you to read, watch this video that I created, which is down here. Watch this video, and then right here on the same page, like a test kind of, they can just answer questions about that video. To me, this is a huge deal. We've never had a tool across both campuses that the college is kind of fully integrated that allows you to put videos and questions kind of like right side by side. You can do that now with Ultra. I'm just gonna select some things and then hit submit. Here is my submission receipt. I can download this, but it's also been sent to my email. And then I can just go ahead and write to the next thing. And again, this one here is a quiz. This is an orientation quiz. Since I had them read the syllabus, I'm just gonna go ahead and click things. You can do different question types. These are just all multiple choice since it's the beginning of the course. And I have it set to grade. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't set this one to grade right away for some reason. And then if I happen to click out of there, I can see I've only done fully. Now this is like a quirk, but then it kind of fixes itself. So it's saying I've only completed 2 of 6 things because there's only 2 things that like submitted, right? The tests, like the quizzes. But you can see I have these like in progress marks by the other items that I've done. As a student, I could choose to mark them manually, or once I finish the module, it marks them as complete. Again, you can't guarantee a student's reading everything. You never can. But if they've opened it, they're more likely to have read it and moved on to the next thing. So this is what discussion boards look like. The top part is the instructor prompt, and then below that is a student's reply. And then students can interact with one another here. When they do, they have access to all of the usual things like links and images. And then if they do the plus sign, they can insert media from YouTube and all kinds of stuff like that. So visually, this is much nicer than the existing discussion board, which looks like it's from the 90s. And then I have a module reflection. I just threw an image in here for the student. And I don't know why it didn't do it because it did it earlier. Just refreshing the page to see. Well, I'm going to mark these because I'm a completionist and I want to see that check mark. So marks it as complete for me. So the difference between that module 0 and this module 1, and I'm not going to go through the whole module, but in module 0, because it's orientation content, I didn't want to force students necessarily to have to go to every single thing. If they were able to look at the syllabus and then complete the quiz, like that's kind of what I needed them to do. But with module 1, as an instructor, I said, I don't want them doing the second thing until they've done the first thing. So here, if I try to click on this, it's not available. It's saying you must complete all the previous items. So that's a feature that the instructor has, and I'll show you. You can turn on forced sequencing. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I forgot, like, for module 0.
Yeah.
You, that is like an overview of the course and everything.
Yeah, that's what I used it for.
So, if we use something like that, does that count as attendance, or do we have to count attendance?
Depends on how you design. For online courses, attendance, you have to interact with something related to the course. It can't simply be like an introduction where they don't talk about course content, for instance. But generally, a syllabus quiz counts, yes. So again, this is just a demonstration that you can't go on to the next thing until you've done the first thing. Oh, go ahead.
I have a question in the previous.
Yeah.
When you said 2 out of 6 progress.
Yeah.
Students see. 2 out of 6, that 6 is that past the due date and the cutoff date, or that is currently available. Say, for example, I have 6 assignments
Mhm.
and already 4 past the due date. Will the students see what is current? I mean, 2 by 6 means what is that 6?
Yeah, the 6 is the items that are inside this module that are available to students. But again, I feel like that might be a good demonstration of where you may think differently when you're designing inside Ultra versus original, right? In original, sometimes we have a module, there's a bunch of content in there, but it's not all available at one time. In Ultra, to take advantage of this stuff, you may want to rethink. I'm not saying you have to change your approach, but it is something to consider. The course design approach might be different when you're in an Ultra course because of the tools that are available. But yeah, it's 3 out of 6 items that are currently available to the student.
I guess my question is along the same lines. When you're talking about availability with forced sequencing of like, you can't access this until you do this, is there intuitive pacing? Like, let's say everything's due at 11:50, like you have the whole chapter due at 11:59 PM on Monday, but that student doesn't start until 11:01 PM. Like, will
Yeah.
everything be open within a timely manner? Or it's like, it'll reach a certain point where it's like, they can't even get to the last 3 items?
If you
Or
are,
can they click on them all?
They can click
how
through.
currently they can click on 5 assignments at once and have them all open at 11:47, just so that they're all available in different
yeah, but
tabs.
today, if they tried to submit that after it's closed, they're gonna error out anyway. Even if they have them all open, when they hit submit, it
It
will.
will get the exclamation point for lateness.
Yeah, but that's because you have late allowed.
Yes, yes.
So what it will do is they'll see the content and they won't be able to move to the next thing until they complete the thing before.
Okay,
But you can choose to not do that.
of course,
Yeah.
of course. I just was curious
Yeah.
about like, I mean, with.
No, I would, that sounds like a good idea.
Intuitive pacing of like, it's gonna open all of this for you within the last 2 hours to
Yeah.
encourage you to get as much done as possible.
Right,
But, I mean,
no, it sounds like a idea for the idea exchange, which we'll talk about later. And then, this is, I just wanted to show you this last module, module 2. Isn't started, but I can't start it because this module isn't available yet. So the cool thing is you'll notice you can see all the stuff that's in the course, even if it's not available to you yet.
okay.
So I can't expand this to see everything, but I can see that there is a module that is not available to me yet. Okay,
But you can turn that on and off.
whether which part in particular?
Like if module 1 isn't completed.
Oh,
I
yes,
said, I had said the students could still see module 2.
you
That's due to the forced sequencing.
yeah, this is, so depends how you set things up. You can set up a module in original now that's available. If it's not available currently and it has like dates, they won't even see that item. It'll look like there's only one module in the whole course. In Ultra, they can see all of the modules, all 15 of them, if it's a 15-week course that you set up like that. But they'll be able to see that some aren't available to them yet, and if they mouse over, they'll see the dates that it will become available to them.
Okay.
Um,
I can make all modules available at the beginning of this semester.
You can. That's not the most like instructor-led version of for a fully asynchronous course. That works for face-to-face courses, et cetera, where students might be a little bit ahead, but like for instruction online in an asynchronous course, you really want to keep students as close together as possible.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
But for online classes, can we still organize it by week?
Yes. Now, all of the words that are in here are words I wrote. Okay, the module 0, could be start here, could be
Could it be
week 1, week 2, week 3. Could be unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. all that is fine. The term learning module is the name of the tool, is all. So that is generally speaking, like the student experience inside a course, and there's so many more details, and we will do details when training happens, but I just wanted you to see kind of what a student sees. Now, what an instructor sees is more or less the same thing, right? So there's kind of proof that they see a lot of the same, but as an instructor, if I wanted to add something, did I not sign in as an instructor? Hold on, I'm in as a student still. Nobody look at my secret bookmarks.
Turn away.
Recorded, to remind you.
It's okay.
You plug in the student again.
This is, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, thank you. It's talking and typing at the same time. Courses, demo course. All right, here we go. Now that I have these buttons over here, I know I'm in as an instructor. So the key feature on how this works is there's a plus sign and it appears as you mouse around. And it is that plus sign that allows you to add content pretty much anywhere that you want it. All right. The other thing with Ultra is, again, the side menu that the student was seeing is more or less what you're seeing. You do have the ability for face-to-face classes or live online or hybrid, et cetera. You can set up a course schedule so that when the students are in the course, they also see what the course schedule is. You know, as an instructor, I do have some other settings that I could toggle on and off, access to the attendance tool, and then across the top are all those other tools that you might be looking for. Okay, go ahead.
So I, obviously, since you mentioned the attendance tool, my curiosity is, does that information then get passed to advisors? Like, is this gonna be linked
So,
up to?
When we kick off in March of next year, it will be one way from the ERP into Blackboard. We want to get to a point where it will be a bi-directional. We need so much more training before we start allowing that information to flow. So that's the plan. And the bi-directional exists in some ways today, right? We just won't be taking advantage of it until we reach a point where we feel confident that the information will be correct. So again, you do this little plus sign, and then you can create content. You can copy content from another course and bring it in. Essentially, in Original, you go into the course that has the content and then you push it somewhere else. In Ultra, you go into the course where you want the content and you go pull it in from sources. That's one of those like things that you're just gonna have to get used to in your brain.
So you're not constantly exporting a file.
No, you're
Essentially,
right. We're using the
content.
yeah, we're using a content collection, which has always existed. We've never used it at Gloucester. I know at Cumberland it has been used in some cases, but every time you work in a course and you're assigned a course, you have that course in like this giant file manager. You're able to kind of grab stuff out of it. And then if you had a publisher and you needed to add content market is LTI connections, takes you here to a familiar area. For instance, let's do Cengage. So I have to add, I already added the tool in this course, so let me open. I think I hid it somewhere. I think I had already connected Cengage and then I deleted the link. So let me try to add, say, McGraw-Hill or something. McGraw-Hill. Oh, yeah, trying to do this live isn't gonna work because I don't have my McGraw-Hill account information. But essentially, you will connect it. And then once it's connected, you're able to insert that tool link to the modules, for instance. So if you want to insert the assignment itself into each module, you can do that. Or if you just want a link to the publisher, you can insert that. Instructor, I'll show you what the gradebook looks like. I'm not going to go into details about the gradebook. There are two views in the gradebook. There's this list view, which feels very wrong because we're so used to kind of the Excel version. And then there is the kind of grid view, okay? There's lots to do here. You can still do the same things that you can in Original. You just have to do them differently and you have to kind of change your brain a little bit. They have this overall grade, see how it's popping up here and it says you don't have one set up yet, click here to set it up, and it kind of walks you through how to set that overall grade up. I love this, because currently in original, they just give you a default total column and a default calculated grade column, and it's just doesn't mean anything
And
to
delete
me.
it every single time.
We delete it every single time. Go ahead.
In the grade book,
Yes.
right now, suppose assignment number 5. So when I go up and I see there are 6 people, they have not submitted.
Oh, yeah, like you have to scroll in the tiny little,
As a reminder, when I click, then I can send an email to
Yeah.
those 6 people
Yep.
that they are
yeah,
submitted.
you can send from
Right
there.
now, what I see is that those emails are going to the college email.
Yes, they have to go to the college email. They will continue to have to go.
That email goes within my e-learning platform.
Oh, course messages? Yeah,
No.
so it depends on which one.
When I do that, I mean, if I send an email, that's a
Yep.
separate thing. But when I check there to send the email to the people that I want to send the email, but as you said, it goes to the college email.
Yes.
But my question was, will it go to within my, within my?
Like the course messages tool within Blackboard. I know that if you use messages in your course, it will. I don't know from Gradebook. If somebody wants to write that down, it goes to their email.
Yeah,
Students,
because, sorry.
yeah, no, it's okay, because
Because I always tell students to communicate within.
you're within the course and stay in the course.
Instead of sending to the college, I try.
Yeah.
And now what happens, when I do that and they get, hey, professor, you said that to communicate within the.
Right, but you're sending it to their
And now you are sending to the college.
Might be another idea exchange. Yeah, I do see Arena has her hand up again, I believe, right?
We do have it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Myself, okay. So, please confirm I heard it correctly. There will be integration between the course messages and the college email. Am I correct? So if I send the email through the course messages, would that be forwarded to the student's email address at the college?
So so if Burns was the opposite. So if you send from course messages, I believe when you send it, you can do the forced send out, where it also sends to their email. You can't, you can't do, if you're sending it to their email, force them to get a course message. You can't do it the other direction, as far as I know, but we'll double check, we'll make sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other?
Is there, like, where do you go to the grade, like what we need to grade?
Oh, yeah, so from here you can get to all kinds of stuff, but you can filter, various things here, and then, I think from this view, yeah, from this view, you're seeing all your items. And then you can click, if this needed grading, right now I have it set that the grades are held, and I just have to click post grade, post all grades go through. But here, you would be able to grade the work, and you can move through stuff by a student and then grade all of that student's work, or you can choose an assignment or a test and then move through all the students for that individual item.
There's nothing that says like need grading?
It's here,
Okay.
and you would see kind of everything that's kind of awaiting you, but then also through the activity stream, if you set up your activity stream to do this, it can keep you up to date on things that need to be
And it would be where it said post grade, there would be red.
graded. Grade,
Yeah,
like grade,
grading. So it
Yeah.
sort of highlights it for you.
So there's not one spot where I can go and sit and click
yep,
grade and sign there.
yeah, just here, right where this says post 1 grade, it would instead say 3 need grading. You would click there and it would take you into the course tour video and self-check quiz from all the people who had submitted for you to grade.
But it's, I have like 6 things, I have to go into each one of them.
So instead of that, when it had, right now, it has a line where you can say grade either by student or
Yeah.
grade by content.
You can do
Grade
that.
It just breaks it down this way.
Yes.
With a drop down.
Yeah, you can either go into the thing and grade students, or you can click to grade and it will grade. It'll grade the item that you're looking at. So it'll grade whichever test or quiz or assignment, and then you'll work through the students that way. Or you can go to the grade book and to the student and grade all of their work across different types of work.
Do you know, can an instructor choose to use the app and get a push notification when they need to grade something, like when
I
assignment comes through?
wouldn't.
Yeah.
But,
In terms of that goes through the
Notifications.
activity stream. And all the items from the activity stream are actionable, so if there's something that pops up, you can use that, and it's also through the push of the mobile too.
yeah, I just don't have this teacher and enough stuff to show you that here. But you'll see that again, kind of it pins stuff, and then also I can change all of this, which things I want the notifications for. Do I want an email every time somebody submits? I could turn that on if I wanted to. I probably don't want an email every time somebody submits.
And if you choose to join the pilot group that Beth will talk about,
You
you
get
get to
to see it
experience
sooner.
all of this.
Yeah, so again, so much more to get into. I am realizing we're 5 minutes out from the scheduled end of this. So let me just hop back into the presentation. Current slide. So just pointing out that we had to make a decision. Are we gonna do a phased approach or are we gonna do a cutover? Cutover being, this is the date by which we're moving and we're all moving at the same time. Phased makes the most sense. We are a small team. We have us here plus the 2 structural designers, Judy and Mike at Cumberland. That's it. We can't train everybody as quickly as we would need to for this. It also means that we can do this early adopters cohort, which I'll show you in a moment. We'll be able to get feedback from students and from faculty before we move to the next group to get them ready, so we can improve what we're doing. We do recognize that what this means is that we will have a Blackboard environment that has both original courses and Ultra courses, and students will be in both of those, and instructors will be teaching in both of those. We're here to support. The feedback that I've gotten at the conferences that I've been to has been the students mostly just complain why their courses aren't all Ultra yet, but they understand, right? They understand that it's just kind of what it is for now, and over time, they're in more and more Ultra courses anyway. Timeline for what we're doing. Today, in the spring, we're announcing Ultra courses. We're moving to Ultra courses, guys. We're also going to identify those that we're gonna work with this summer, okay? Almost there. Over the summer, we will work with the early adopters to train, and we will build courses with this group, okay? First Ultra courses for that early adopters group will go live in fall of 2024. At that point, we're gonna get some feedback from students pretty early once they're in the courses, feedback from instructors. We'll use that feedback, and then we'll begin to open more opportunities for more faculty to get involved, start building courses. The following year, 2025, in spring, that second set of courses can go live in Ultra. Those who work with us in the fall will expand training further. And we hope that folks who do the early adoption may be able to do a kind of event like this, but maybe at the Cumberland campus, where we'll showcase those courses to your colleagues so everybody can see what we've done. Summer, that is the first semester where we will be live in the new ERP and the new single instance of Blackboard. We do not need to wait for a single instance to use Ultra, but we're really gonna start rolling forward faster once we're in a single instance. Over that summer, I plan to do Ultra Bootcamp, which I envision, and we'll see, what I envision as maybe like 3-day intensives, where folks come ready to work on their course and do training, and we just do it in person. Maybe we'll even offer some remote bootcamp sessions. It'll be multiple hours each day of just working through content. Fall of 2025, third set of Ultra courses go live. The goal is for fall of 2026 to have all courses live in Ultra. The longer we wait, the more we're missing out on the opportunity to improve that learning experience for students. I think we can do it before fall of 2026, but I also know with the ERP, I mean, my team is involved in making sure that integration with Blackboard is great, right? So we have a lot of work to do too. So we understand that some of us are a little more involved in the implementation than others, but that's the current goal. And Josh, you have that microphone for Krista? Krista's gonna talk to you briefly about the idea exchange.
Thank you. I'm Krista Levecki, a customer success manager from Anthology Blackboard. So work with the wonderful team here and campuses across New Jersey as well too. I'm based in Philadelphia, so just buzzed over the bridge to hang with you all this afternoon. I think what you've heard from the team really is that the investment in our product and then our partnership, it really is why Ultra why Ultra is where it is today. I think kind of echoing what the folks have shared about going to conferences and really kind of seeing the iterations of Ultra, the product is ready for you all. So excited for RCSJ to really jump on this, and it is an opportunity for you all to partner with us in terms of where we are in Ultra. So opportunities to be on campus, hear from you all. We really have a feedback loop with myself, with folks on our product team to make sure the product is evolving and meeting the needs of RCSJ and our customers all over the world, all over the country. So you'll kind of see we have a feedback loop, and a quote that we really kind of hone in is that our clients built Ultra, we didn't. So we really listened and learned from you all. You're on the ground teaching and really understanding what you need in terms of the LMS. And so we're here to really learn from you all and hear from you all. Invest your the idea exchange, you'll hear about that a lot, but it's an opportunity for you as instructors and also the admin team, but for you as instructors, as you're in Ultra, you're getting used to it, seeing what it does and maybe what it doesn't do, that you have a direct line to our product team. So within the idea exchange, and the team will share out a link to that, you're able to make an account, and on there's a teaching and learning kind of area. If you see something in Ultra that doesn't meet your needs, search for it. There might already be an idea about what that is. You can upvote that, or if there's something new that you think would be really powerful in Ultra, put that right in. And our product team within a week chimes in about, do they need more information, clarification about what exactly you mean? And then they'll label that, planning to implement, future consideration. And so really is a two-way dialogue with Anthology. So our product team really listens. They're super accessible. I know that the team at RCSJ has interacted with them. And so it really, I want to reiterate that we're here and we're here to partner with you all in terms of this transition. And it's a really exciting time. Just wanted to highlight too, we had over 200 different features that were released on our roadmap over the past year. So product development, the pace of change is really exciting, but 171 were direct ideas from the idea exchange. So we're listening and we really want to partner with you all in terms of your usage of Ultra. So excited for what's to come. So I'll turn it back over to Beth.
Thank you. I submitted an idea on Thursday. They already updated it, got extra information and put it for future consideration. So moved quick. And I've already had people from other institutions vote it up, so.
I'll have this last question. When you said that there will be some early adopter.
Yep, that's what I'm on right now.
Suppose the student is taking 3 online classes. And one of the faculty is early adopter.
Yeah.
And the other 2, they are
Yeah.
late adopter.
Yeah.
I mean, is the student going to see 2 different
Yes.
formats?
Yeah, when they go into the course, it will look different. They will see the Ultra course versus the original.
For 2 different things, they're going to see 2 different.
They will, yes.
But also keep in mind today, it could be all the original courses, they're gonna look different, right? Because they're configured differently.
Yes.
So it's a little bit of a jump, but it's not a huge jump.
One last question about early adopters before you fully get into it. If you do opt to be an early adopter, you have to switch all of your courses immediately or just
Nope.
maybe one subject?
One course, one subject. It can have multiple sections, it can be one section.
Okay.
But only one course per person. There's only so many of us. We hope to take a decent number of you folk to kind of work through this. So scan that QR code if you're interested, it'll take you to a form. On the form, you'll see some of this information. You're essentially agreeing to these things.
One more question.
Yep,
Can we request for development, what do you call?
not currently. So let me, so multiple sections are encouraged. So if you are teaching multiple sections of the course, we love that because obviously, once we get you set up with Ultra, you can then, in the future, even if it's not right away, move that to multiple sections and impact more students. You can mix them. If you want to keep one in original for fall and do one in Ultra, that's fine too. you will, you need to make sure that it is a course you expect to teach in fall of 2024. We know you can't be 100% correct all the time and things change, but we are not currently looking to work on 5-week courses just because we want a little bit more time for students to give us feedback. But 7, 10, and 15-week courses are all fine. You need to be available during the summer. On the form, if you fill it out, there's an area that if you do already have a planned vacation, just let us know. That doesn't mean you can't be part of this group. It just gives us some heads up about when to plan around. But this summer is when the work will be done. So that's by choice. You don't have to do it if you have a busy summer. You'll also be getting 4 2-hour-long remote training sessions with Anthology Blackboard trainers. Because again, our team is the size that it is, we're gonna provide plenty of one-on-one, but this will be some group training to kind of get you the basics.
Is it synchronous or asynchronous?
It'll be online, but it will be synchronous. And then you're also agreeing that we can put 2 surveys into your course. You'll get to have input in the surveys. The surveys will be probably after like the 3rd week of, say, a 15-week course, and get early feedback from folks so we can step in if there is a problem. And then there will also be one at the end of the course so we can get information back from students as we continue on. Yep.
So one question is, can we do one course as a 15-week and then the same course as a 7-week?
Yeah, in this program. Yes, that would be fine. And then again, you're agreeing that during fall 2024, when you go live for the first time, that you will keep us in the loop. We don't want to hear at the end of the semester for the first time that things didn't go well. So that's the requirements. This is the extent of the training, but this is what I'll say to kind of address Arena's earlier question and other questions, which is we're not going to give dev shells to folks right now. If you are in the early adopters, you're going to work with an instructional designer. Yes, you will have a shell that you're building in, right? That will be a dev shell, but we're not just going to give dev shells to everybody yet. We really want to work with this small group. We want to get feedback from them on training, on the experience of using Ultra, parts that are confusing, parts that are less confusing. We want feedback from students about if the approach that we're taking with these designs, if that works for students. Once we have that, then we begin to expand the training and adoption, and then we will have that discussion about folks being able to just have a dev shell that they can play in. Okay, so if you're not interested in this early adopters cohort, that's fine, just sit tight. We will send communication out once we're looking for more folks and have a second training opportunity. That is everything. So if there are any more questions, please go ahead and ask. Go ahead, Mary.
Yes, can I see specifically, because my students hate the calendar.
Yeah, the calendar is what it looks like now.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't love the calendar either.
Go to the idea exchange.
Yeah, go to the idea exchange. The calendar is the same because the calendar tool, when we went to ultra-based navigation, that's the tool, right? The only difference is that when you access it from within the course. So here, let me, teacher or student? You can.
I know there's work coming in terms of base navigation, and I can share with Beth and the team too, that is more of like a profile, broader picture with that. And I can also just kind of see it, in terms of calendar specifically too.
Due dates, I like. This is more of what students are looking for, but the problem is, it still remains that if a due date's assigned to an item, but that item is not available to students yet, that's where the trick comes in, right? So that's why we create those documents that have the whole semester's worth of items that are going to be due, is because if they look at this, they're only going to see what's available to them. So I still am not a huge fan of it.
In the stream, right?
Yes, yeah, like in the, so do I love the activity stream? Not necessarily, but I think it's useful if people take the time to edit their notifications and actually turn it into something that's usable. The default settings, we did our best to not flood it with stuff, but it's a lot for users. So all of our training, and we have a video on the institution page at both campuses about configuring your personal notification settings for students, so that hopefully students do that, take the time to do that, and then it becomes more useful for them.
And with the push notifications, will that go to their cell phones?
That's if they have the app on their phone, yeah.
But it won't if they don't have the app on their phone.
Correct. It is an app push notification.
So it's not a text. it's
No.
an app push.
we can't really, nobody wants to text every time they see something.
Beth, can the student, if they put the app on there, can they also identify what they want to?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have like, depending on what they give Blackboard, because we only import their email address and their name, right, and their student ID for faculty to look at. But if they go in and they actually edit their own profile to add their own phone number and set up their configuration settings for their notifications, they can choose to get texts on certain types of things. But that's not a default. We do not default that on for anybody. But just today, if you go and click on your thing, and then you do.
Are we going to encourage student profiles include their pictures? Like you had yours up,
Yeah.
you know, on a previous school I worked at, like my rosters included the student pictures.
Yeah, we don't currently
I know
have.
it's not required,
Right.
but are we going to encourage?
They maybe in the future, if we have student photos in
Will it
Anthology
automatically
ERP.
Yeah, I guess that comes to Josh. Will it automatically be linked to their school email address based on their student ID at some point?
Yes, it's gonna be, yes. Now, keep in mind that we don't force students to get a student ID, it's highly
Right.
encouraged, but if a student chooses to never get one, they're not gonna get one. And we're not going to allow students to upload their own picture, because that leads to a myriad of other problems.
No, I just meant like a school sanctioned, the picture was taken as their ID.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, not a personal selfie,
correct, yes,
right?
yes. Mhm.
Anything?
I just wanted to clarify, just some, for my own notes.
Yes.
Basically, the activity stream you could treat like an agenda. Like, it's like a calendar, like if you set everything up and then they would see it all.
Yeah,
versus
it's
people
not-
would be
it's
available when it's due.
It's clunkier than a calendar if what you're looking for are calendar type things, right? Like, because you gotta work, this is a very small, this account has very few courses. If I have 5 courses, I'm scrolling for all. So the calendar does show a lot of the same information in a different format that might make more
It's
sense.
just the stuff that's not available because of dates
Yeah.
and what's cordoned off. I was just wondering if that, no matter what, could be set up with everything visible and then
Yeah,
once
it's,
the dates are upon us, it would release. to them.
right. Everything is functioning under the idea that if it's not visible to students, it shouldn't be visible to them anywhere. Like, you know what I mean? So if you choose to not have something available to them, right, so. Go ahead. Yep.
So our students can they put photos up in, they can or they can't?
Yeah,
They can.
they can currently, I think with Ultra, but there's almost nowhere for them to see it in original. Moving to Ultra though,
Okay, I have students who
Yeah.
have their photos up. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure.
we haven't heard any horror stories, but moving to Ultra, they surface that photo everywhere though. So
I wasn't sure.
By default, will it just be like a logo for the university?
it's, by default, it's just the blank,
Okay.
profile. Any other questions? We're still learning too, right? Krista mentioned how many features got added to the roadmap. That means that's that many features for us to learn to then teach too, right? Every time we open Ultra, it's been updated. Which is great because for so long, original has not gotten an update that impacted users the way that these updates do, right? So it's great to see the updates, but there will be communication from us probably on a monthly basis that sends you the information of all the new things. Blackboard does a good blog of like the teacher side of things that leaves off the admin stuff and leaves off some of, well, no, I guess it shows all the student stuff. So it shows all the student and instructor stuff, and that's the kind of stuff that we'll send out regularly to everybody. We essentially have tasked Erica with coming to our meetings with that information, so she's gonna be our main point of finding that stuff. Updates go every month with new features, so, and fixes for things that we don't like, new enhancements and things like that, so.
Yeah, we're going into what's known as a SaaS model, right? Software as a service model. We're kind of there right now with Blackboard, honestly. But it's just like, you know, if you have Netflix at home, right? They change the menu around to Netflix. They update pieces like that. You're gonna experience the same thing with this. Honestly, with life in general, right? Everything is going SaaS based. It is. So it's a new kind of methodology.
Any other questions? Anything online?
It's not gonna be simply just taking your old courses and putting.
No, and I can't emphasize that enough, guys. Like, I understand that we just want to get up and running. But Ultra has so many new things that you can do that it would be a disservice to everyone to just move things forward. So we're not gonna tell you no, but we are going to passionately advocate for students and tell instructors that it will be best if you sit with us, give us an hour of your time, or tell us you want us to move you to Ultra for you and then meet with us and give us feedback on what you like and what you don't like. We will be happy to do it for you. And we'll come up with some cool and creative things, and then you can see it and you can say, I don't like that, and I like that, let's do more of this. We'd be happy to do that. There's just so many cool things you can do.
We have another question from Irene.
Okay, go ahead, Irina, in just a second. Go ahead.
Oh, very quick question. So if I decide to be this early adapter, can I play with it with 2 courses, roll over in one to the Ultra, and build the one from scratch in the Ultra and see how they look like? And is that possible to do it in a demo?
Yeah, so I would just say, let us see how many instructors are interested in being part. If it's 2 completely different subjects, or are you talking about the same course but different sections of the course?
Well, whichever would work for you the best, I'll be fine with.
Yeah, fill out the form, let us know your thoughts. There's a comments box at the bottom. And suggest that if you become part of the group, that you'd be interested in maybe doing 2 courses, one built from scratch and one kind of transitioned.
Okay. All right. Got it somehow.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
With the Literacy Academy, so also CTE in a way. So I'm actually coming from most recently as a student on this. I just graduated last year. We did use Blackboard, so I'll use that link for the idea exchange to give you guys a little bit of feedback as well.
Yeah.
As a very recent student.
Yeah.
I do like the way it's going though, so I'm
Yeah.
hoping that we can maybe be part of the early adopting and give you feedback.
Yeah, fill out the form, please. I can't guarantee that if you fill it out, we can take you. Our goal is to choose as many different subjects as possible. We want some math courses, and we want some psychology courses, and we want some art courses, and because we're all English people. So we want to vary it. Yeah. So we can't guarantee, but depending on how many people are interested, we may take everybody. It just depends.
That's we have a question of currently available resources. Do you have Ultra training videos that instructors can watch?
So if you're interested in seeing Ultra, you can always go to the help.blackboard.com. Follow the prompts that you see, but then when it asks you which version of Blackboard, choose Ultra. And then you just type in what you're interested in seeing, you'll see countless articles with videos and all kinds of stuff.
We actually have a YouTube channel that has like 3-minute videos, so if there's different things that you're gonna have a question about, things like that, that's a great resource, just if you're a visual learner, to check in and hop in there, specific workflows.
Is Krista coming through on the audio?
Slight.
Okay, just in case you missed, Anthology has a YouTube account. If you go look them up, you can do the playlists and then find the ones that are for Ultra, and then you can find the one for Ultra instructor or Ultra students. I would just definitely look at what students see. So as an instructor, please also look at the student videos. Anything else? Anything online? All right, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.